be here. I feel a little freezer burnt at the moment, but I'll get through it. It's nice and cool in the building here. Yeah, it really is. I don't think anybody in the world could ever repeat that. I think he was down at least 5 matches we spoke of, Phil, and we know of one that was 7-0 after losing his first round. And he actually does have a decent opener on the 1. I don't know if he can dig into this and go directly towards the blue 2 and the black 8.
"25 years of age, Fedor Gorst. At the age of 24, he became the youngest ever multiple winner of this title. Just starting out on the road now with a lovely shot there. Deserved better positionally. Just starting out on the road now to try and emulate Earl Strickland's 3 world titles. If he does that here this year, he'll also emulate Strickland as the only player to successfully defend this title. Strickland won the first 2 championships in 1990 and 1991. Different generation. But I think Gorst is more than capable.
Yeah, he's just going to edge the 2 here. I don't know if he's going all the way down. This is something I've talked about with his game. I think he kind of excels above other players due to his IQ. He's got so many layers and depth to his game as far as he doesn't have to be the best shot maker in the world in order to win. Now, this young man here, I believe, also has the ability to be one of the best in the world. When will it be his time?
Well, he's certainly got time on his side, still a teenager. Oh, but catching the black first there means ball in hand. And look at this table. From here, the first rack should fall to Gorst. Or to give him his full name, Fedor Alexeyevich Gorst.
And I don't see any trouble here. Back to the 6. Didn't want to fall straight, but I don't think he did. Looks like he's going forward. Plenty of angle. Doesn't want to end up on the 7. Where is this going to finish? Directly over the left side. And is he straight? Slight elevation with the cue. Oh. Threw the hand up as if he got away with it, Phil, but I promise you Sam's happy to be back at the table.
Yes, got an early apology, but he knew that 6 ball was going to run safe. The first slice of luck for the title holder.
Yeah, I wouldn't fault Sam for being aggressive here. If he could get to the right side of the 6, kind of changes things defensively. I don't know. Edging the left side is just about as dangerous as banking at it. I can't fault this decision, and that's why. What a great shot by the young man.
In the modern lexicon, that's known as an Al-Qaedi because he doubled the 9-ball length of the table to win the World Masters some years ago. David Al-Qaedi, that is, who's here, of course, trying to claim the trophy, and he's certainly on the short list of contenders. Just wiping down the hands, young Sam. Very nice indeed. So Gorst missed the 6th ball. He thought he'd been lucky, but then Henderson used that length of table bang to great effect. It's a great story, actually, Sam. He's from the Quad Cities community, which is on the Iowa-Illinois border. And he got into pool because his 3 younger sisters all played in the local APA league that was run by his father, Nate. Anyway, Sam began playing at the age of 8. And a decade later, here he is, half the world away from home, taking on the world champion. He has beaten the likes of Daniel Masséol, Mika Immonen, and at the UK Open, Mohamed Soufi, 9-6. So he is capable of an upset. Let's put it this way, if Mustafa Alner can beat Fedor Gorst in the first round last year, Sam Henderson can win this match.
No, I totally agree, and I don't think you could ask for a better start if you're Sam. Fedor falling straight on the 6, elevated a little bit, rattled it out, kind of got away with it. Sam comes with a great bank. Speaking of great banks, what about a great break? Boy, looks to me like the first shot is the most important here. If he can bury the 2, everything just kind of lines up. But we talk about it a lot, Phil. The nerves at the young age playing the defending champion. He's got a long way to go. Yeah, I think you can just float this in with a high cue ball. All right, he decided to just kind of punch over, maybe easier to make the 2 that way. Just steer clear of the green 6. Heart rate probably up pretty good. He's playing a little quick, now taking his time. I like checking everything out. You could stop right there, really. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, and he chose to. Pretty wise.
There's no doubt Henderson has got bags of potential. Maybe this is the breakout party. Henderson is the neighbouring city of Las Vegas. I'm just beginning to wonder whether this Henderson will hit the jackpot here, beating Fedor Gorst. What a start that was. Obviously, that thunderous break really helped. I think after the break he was playing 6-ball, not 9-ball, but nevertheless, he seems to have settled down beautifully. Now, just to put into perspective what Gorst has done, he first won this title at the age of 19, so he was 1 year older than Henderson is now. He's a multiple winner of the World Championship. We know about Earl Strickland, I mentioned him. The only other players on that list, the great Johnny Archer, Fong Pang Chow, Torsten Homan, and more recently, in 2016 and 2021, Albin Auschen. So it's a formidable task for Henderson, of that there's no doubt. But I think it's a doable task, definitely. Last year, Gorst, we always say, don't we, let the best man win. Well, there was an argument to say, in the championship's totality last year, he wasn't the best player, and yet he still won it. He played a total of 169 racks to win that championship. And on many, many occasions, he looked as though he was going to head to the exit door. But he clawed and clawed, fought hard. And again, he needs tenacity here, Scott.
Yeah, and we just got to look at Fedor. There is no panic in his eyes behind a handful of matches last year. But I'll tell you what, this is the start young Sam Henderson is looking for. Can he avoid the 9? He's got a clear look at the 2, the red 3 near the cue ball. Yeah, I think he would like to avoid it, but the brown 7 could be an issue as well. Oh, and he just clipped the 7 underneath. He's got options here. He can get him behind the 8. It's actually laying really nice. Maybe a little shake of the head, but don't talk yourself out of it, Sam. Really laying quite nice. I don't think you have to get a lot out of the 3 to get the cue ball over there. Now he's using a low ball. Is he going at the bank? Yeah, I don't quite know. Maybe trying to stun below the green 6 there. First real opener for Gorst since missed 6-ball in game number 1. This really is his go-to. He stays down so well with the level backhand. I don't know any player that can get the cue more level than Gorst. Looking to see if he can avoid the 9.
In any match, no matter who you are, you need shots to get going. And maybe that was the shot that will get Fedor Gorst going.
And this is what he is so good at, time and time again. He'll come with the odd big power shot, but really Gorst shines in so many different areas. I call it layers. He's got a lot of different layers to his game. He does not have to be playing his best pool to win. the biggest tournament in the world.
Yeah, what I said before about the fact there's an argument to say he wasn't the best player here over the course of the entire championship last time. That wasn't a criticism of him. That was a big compliment, because to lift this trophy, having not been in top gear, I think it's the ultimate credit to him. How many players could do that? Very few.
I'll tell you what, if the cue ball didn't quite get past the side, but back to your point, Phil, or our point, I guess, a guy like Jason Shaw versus a guy like Fedor Gorst, they're just completely different animals. One is very, very natural. The other is very technical. Jason, so natural and so talented, but he has to rely on that pretty much 24/7. Not that he can't play tactically or do all the great things, but Fedor just has a little bit more than the rest of the pack.
And he's not the only massive name in early trouble. I'll give you the updated scores when we come back from the break after this rack. But I can tell you that Luong Duc Tien is 2-0 up on Shane Van Boening.
Yeah, it's not terrible there by any means. Might be forced to cut this towards the pocket. Can't quite tell if it... Can you see enough of it to kind of bank it up past the 9 and 5? Yeah, elevating. So he's going to use the 7, 5, and 9 here for cover. Top the point.
Update on the update. Luong Duc Tien has just taken a 3-0 lead.
And funny things can start to happen, right? We've seen it over and over, but with this kind of money up top, 2-0, then 3-0, then 4-0, and you're in a real battle at that point.
Well, look at Gorst last year. Apart from his 11-4 win over Anton Raga in the quarterfinals, which obviously was comfortable, every other match was either hill-hill or he won by 2 racks. With the exception of the semi-final when he beat Wojciech Szewczyk 11-8, but that was also a real grind.
He didn't want to open the 5-9 up. The cue ball did finish directly over the 5. This is one that you're kind of in between. I think he's got to power it to bend the cue ball 2 rails up and out towards the purple. I don't think he wants to take the distance. The 4 is close enough to the pocket where he can be pretty confident with the stroke. Yeah, it's about as good as you could do. I don't know if he can draw back beating the right-hand side pocket. If he can, I suspect that's what he's going to do versus take on the 6-8 combination. A little let up on the stroke, and the purple held up as well. This is early concerns for Gorst.
Well, they say, don't they, Scott, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But sooner or later, if you keep giving big leads away to capable opponents, you're going to get tripped up. Of course, he comes here direct from the night shot Dubai Open, does Gorst, where he lost in the final 13-6 to Johan Chua. It was 6-6. Chua won the last 7 racks, but he did beat some good players there. Did Gorst, the likes of Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz, Neil Svein, and in the semi-final, Mickey Krause. So on that basis, he's got form. Oh, and he's got some massive form there. Can you believe he missed that ball completely?
Yeah, I guess at which speed he hit it, he didn't expect it to just jump off the rail, but at that pace, you know it's going to come off sharp. Obviously misjudged by quite a bit, really. Is that the pressure playing the reigning champion? Got to believe Gorst will finish here. That's a little light. I think he just got there where he can come one rail up. Looks confident to me in the stroke. Let's not forget it's early. It's day 1. It's game number 3. Maybe getting ahead of myself just a little bit. Sam Henderson has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, that's part of our job description. Scott, to get over dramatic. But I'll tell you what, Henderson must be kicking himself for missing that cushion first pot completely. No one saw that one coming. We are always looking for turning points in these matches, and maybe this is a quintessential turning point. 3-0 was beckoning, now the 9 for just 2-1. It was never in doubt. The defending champion here at the World 9-Ball Pool Championship is off the mark. Sam Henderson still leads, but now the lead trimmed to 2-1. Welcome back to the main match arena here at the World Pool Championship. We're in the Prince Abdullah Al Faisal Sports City. Green Halls is the venue. This, our first featured match. In total in the tournament, 233 matches over the next 6 days. And would you believe, 128 players here with over 40 countries represented. Fedor Gorst is one of the star attractions, one of the big names. But for him, things are not, Scott Frost, going well.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what happened there. If it was that big a miss hit, it looked like he caught it real thin. The only reason I say that is how the one finished. Very short of the right side. And that's the goal, especially for Gorst. He's playing the one into the right side, but when you get these opportunities, the 6 and 9, a little tied up, but Sam needs to take advantage here. Wow. I think he was afraid to get into it too much and catch the pink going in. Instead, he caught it going out, letting up a little bit. Can he swerve? Yeah, it's in a big ball position, meaning it's not frozen, just off the rail, blue 2. Ball in hand to be in this position, though. You don't expect it. Want to catch the rail first here. And he's done that. Yeah, this is where you don't get frazzled. You've got a big wall right there that you can use. You're still in control. You don't have to run out. Oh, is he looking at the 8 here or cutting the 3?
Well, you were right, Scott. It was a very big target to hide behind, but he hasn't done so. Came up too narrow off the second cushion.
Gorst did hit the target. I think he's kept him off of the long rail, so he's going to have to come to the bottom rail and back behind the 3. Looking to catch the bottom half, maybe send the cue ball towards the 6. First things first is hitting the actual 3. I really like the speed at which he hit it. I don't know if Gorst can get a piece of the 3.
Yes, it's sticking its nose out. We've got a overlooking the arena. We can see multiple tables. And one of the tables I can see is the one in which Shane Van Boning is trying to come back after a slow start. Remember, he was 3-0 down to Luang Duc Tien. Well, he's now got a 9 ball. He should bury, although the cue ball is close to the side to trail only 3-2. SVB did bury that 9. Now can Fedor Gorst bury all of these balls and get back onto level terms?
Pretty sure the 6 plays in either corner. Lower right past the 8 is good. He's looking at the line he wants to be on. Speaking of long duck, Tien and SVB, Tien had the 8 and 9 to go up 4 games to 0, and it was a pretty makeable 8. Happened to miss it. That's how SVB got the first game on the board. And he's falling a little straight on the green 6 again. This is the ball, and almost the same shot that he missed in the very first game. Pounding forward here.
You're right, Scott, there were eerie similarities, but he executed that one a lot better. Lots of side to widen the angle for the shape he required, although he's not ideal on this brown 7 ball. Far from it. I'm not going to say that Gorst will be relieved when this 9 ball goes in. That might be too powerful a word. But I think there will be a warm feeling, let's put it that way, because 2-0 down after what happened in the first round last year, all kinds of bad memories can come into the mind. Of course, the great man could still be defeated, but at least now he has tied the scores at 2-2. So further to my promise of keeping you updated, so many great players out there at the moment simultaneously. On table 2, Oliver Scholnocki, former semi-finalist in this event, leads the German youngster Felix Vogel 3-0. Loho Sum, he's 3-1 up on Tyler Steyer. Daniel Maciol leads Sioa 4-1. Sioa is the only female competitor in this year's event. She's just coming off a big tournament win in Indonesia, actually. Rubelen Amit from the Philippines was scheduled to be here, but very sadly she had to pull out because of health issues. Duong Kok Wang, the great Vietnamese player, 4-0 up on JJ Fall of South Africa. Now the winner of the match we're watching, Gorst against Henderson, will play in the next round either Francesco Candela or Marlon Caneda. Well, Candela 2-1 up at the moment. Other scores, Oscar Dominguez, 2-1 up over Stefan Kasper. Dominguez always perennially in the running for Mosconi Cup place for the Americans. Wojciech Szewczyk, semi-finalist last year. He leads Fu Chi Wei 3-1. And always keep an eye on Dennis Graber from Estonia. He's 3-1 up on Rogelio Sotero of the Philippines. By the way, Scott, what a contingent of Filipinos here. Obviously, all of the big names as well. But there are so many under-the-radar players from that nation that could really spring surprises.
Well, one of them for me, certainly, and always, probably my favorite player, A.J. Manis. I keep waiting for him to cash the big check. Maybe this will be his year. I think the Philippines has the biggest contingent here with us this week. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's 17 players.
Spot on. And winners from the Philippines that perhaps weren't that well known on the international stage are emerging like you would not believe. World 9-Ball Tour ranking event in Vietnam recently. Alexis Ferrer stepped forward out of the shadows into the light, and he's in the field this week.
Yeah, is he looking to kick behind the two? I think it's too thin, meaning tough to get behind it. This is a push out, and I believe that Gorst is at the top of the food chain in that department as well. Just such a great thinker, Fedor Gorst. When he rolls out, you typically don't want to give it back because that's what he's looking for. I don't believe that was what he was looking for, though. It's definitely left a thin cut to the lower left.
Yeah, this kind of pot on your screens is somewhat deceptive, but there's no doubt it's well within Henderson's locker.
I actually did a pretty avoiding any traffic there. I don't know if he's faced with rail first. But how do you get away from it, meaning position? I think you've got to hit it with a little pace to get the three up and out of there unless you think you can hold it. That's what he's thinking about now. When the nerves are high, this isn't something you want to roll, especially with the pink 4 sitting right where it is. Yeah, a little inside ball here and get past the 4. No, he's handled it well.
What a first day narrative this would be if Sam Henderson could get the win here. Of course, it wouldn't end Gorst's defence. He would go to the one-loss side of the draw. But it would certainly, in terms of storylines, get this championship off to a remarkable start. And let's not forget that this year's World Snooker Championship, the defending champion, Kyron Wilson, he was beaten on day 1, out straight away. These things happen.
Yeah, he might have got a little thinner on the pink 4 than he expected. He's going to have to stay below the 5 here. There's nothing wrong with just playing the 5 on the right side. He's caught a piece of the 9. So far, I'll tell you what, so far, I feel like Sam's breaking better than Fedor. I get it, we're only into game number 5, but if Sam could bury a ball or two, and I don't like the stroke he put on that, thought he might just punch the cue ball forward. Gonna shave this real thin and use the 9 here, I believe. That'll work. this is real awkward. Can he bank it back down just to the inside of the 9, back down to the bottom rail? Or does he have to shoot it away? Trying to use the 6 somehow. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think you could do any better than this. All right, does he just want to cross the face of it, get the cue ball up table? Oh, he could dig into it, but I think the 5 is going to leak out, Phil. It's close.
Yeah, everything about the match is close. Both making mistakes, both pulling off good shots. Simply nothing to choose between them. If you'd been transported here and didn't know anything about the game of 9-ball at all, and you were watching from the bleachers, you'd have trouble wondering who was the defending champion and who was the 18-year-old trying to make his name in the game. Obviously, Henderson is fresh face, so that would give a clue, but you know what I mean. That 5-ball has not been his friend.
No, and I mean, I think, Phil, to your point, kind of, I think it makes us a little bit better about ourselves when we see a couple of guys struggle. That being said, it just tells us how much is really on the line. It is early, day number 1, match number 1. Obviously, play will increase as we go. Oh, there he's letting it out a little bit. Did not need to. I think that was more for feel than anything else.
Well, again, the hand raised an apology before the cue ball had stopped. So we know he didn't play there. Why apologise if he did? Maybe it's a little bit of gamesmanship getting inside young Sam's head. Plays that shot with running side beautifully, using 3 cushions. And now the defending champion is about to hit the front for the first time. No mistake, Fedor Gorst leads by 3 racks to 2, so he's already got the same amount of racks in his first match at the 2025 World Championship as he got in the entire first match he played here last year. As I said, he lost 9-3 to Mustafa Alner in a major upset. Then he bounced back on the one-loss side, beating Luong Doc Tien 9-7. He then went hill-hill with Kyle Amoroto of the Philippines, won that one 9-8 and went into single elimination. He went on to win this first prize of $250 US. The runner-up receives 100,000. Semi-finalists 50,000. All of these are massive numbers on the World 9-Ball Tour. And the thing is, of course, you've got to think about the World 9-Ball Tour rankings as well. If Fedor Gorst were to repeat and get another $250,000 in the skyrocket. That would equate to the same amount of ranking points. He would be so far clear at the top, you wouldn't be able to see him. He'd be riding off into the distance like one of those old end scenes in a good old cowboy movie.
All right, notice the pace at which the one went in there, no question. So making an adjustment on the break shot. And notice the pace at how he walked around towards the two as well. Body language tells us a lot. Obviously, he still needs to clear. Really, the 4 to the 5. But if you're Sam Henderson, you're right there. You're in this match. There's nothing you can do at this point except wait for your opportunity. Do not get down on yourself. You're young. You're talented. You've got hands. Fight to the end.
Yes, of course he's missed opportunities, Henderson. But there's no point dwelling on them. The only problem is, it's human nature to dwell. And those who don't are best equipped in most sports, certainly in pool. And that was one of the great things about Gorst last year. He started off a lot of matches where he was clearly nowhere near his best. And yet, he put out of his mind thoughts of a quality performance. He was thinking about one thing and one thing only, getting the W and moving on, and that's what he did.
Yeah, well said there. Punching 2 rails out.
We've got a lot of folks watching stateside, and consequently, I know you'll be interested to see or hear how Shane Van Boning is doing. Well, the good news is he's back to level terms against Luong Nok Tien at 3-3, having been 3-0 adrift. You just get the feeling he's starting to take control. Certainly not in full control yet, but I think the process has begun. It was a little concerning for Fedor Gorst at the start of the match when he went a couple of racks behind, but since then, he's looked like the world champion he is. Ben Taylor Fuente, the referee, just getting things organised for the start of rack 7. Fedor Gorst has left the arena, so that gives me the opportunity to get you right up to date with all of the matches going on right now. Oliver Szolnocki has been pegged back by Felix Vogel. It's 3-3. Laurent Doctien has taken a 4-3 lead over Shane Van Boning. The great man, the 5-time US Open champion, not having things his own way. That's certainly the case here as well with this match. Gorst has had one break-in run, but it's not been fluent pool by any means from him. I think Gorst's lead is largely down to the fact that young Sam Henderson has wasted chances. Now this, though, could be a chance to dish from the break. Most advanced matches out there. Duong Kwok Wang, 6-1 up on JJ Fall. And Mark Bosch de Bosch, he leads 6-4. Yeah, Bosch de Bosch is taking on Mohamed Al-Gomez.
Yeah, you can tell he's starting to really dial, at least so far in this match. Take distance here. And this is something that Gorst typically does. Will walk around, look at his line. I think it's as much to control himself and his pace versus anything else, but you don't see too many players at his level really look over every situation like he does.
He's just the ultimate pro, isn't he? He's a classic case of old head on young shoulders. Still only 25. And it's not just 9-ball he's very skilled at. When it comes to one pocket, your penchant, Scott, what a player there as well. In all forms of pool last year, he amassed over $500,000 in total prize money. Now, that is something else.
Yeah, and that's just prize money. He does it all well. He's great in the public eye. He's polite. He's a gentleman. He's got the look. He's built like a world-class pool player. And if you're in Sam's chair right now, what's going through your mind?
Right now, I think the shot that Henderson might be replaying more than any others, if he is replaying a shot in his mind, would be when he failed to pop the 5-ball over the pocket cushion first. Didn't just fail to pot it, he failed to hit it, and thereafter, Gorst got a foothold. And now the title holder is more than halfway to negotiating his first hurdle in the championship. I was telling you beforehand about Earl Strickland being the only player to win this championship back-to-back. He did so in 1990 and 1991. That's what Gorst is trying to do here, and he's trying to make history. Did so last year by completing that terrific trifecta. The World Pool Masters, the World Champion, and he also won the US Open. He'll be defending that title in Atlantic City next month. To win all three, Scott, I think that's one of the most remarkable achievements in modern pool history.
Yeah, Phil, and we were there at the US Open in Atlantic City when, well, of course, Shane Van Boening had a chance to win number 6. You could not cut the tension in the room with a knife. It was intense, and I'll tell you what, Gorst did not let any of that get to his head. A little grin from Sam Henderson. Hey, what are you going to do? That's what I keep looking at, though, is the 1 and how quick it's entering the side, and now position on the blue 2. Everything is rosy for Fedor Gorst.
Just spied Sam's mom in the background there watching on. Couldn't be easy for her. She's a great support mechanism for him. And of course, when you're watching on, you are powerless. He wasn't too far away actually there from a golden break, but I think this is the next best thing. It's the first mention of that little word I sometimes use, roadmap. Jeremy doesn't like it. I know you prefer it a little more than Jeremy. You can deal with it, Scott.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows what a roadmap means, but if you don't, it's basically connect the dots. In other words, the balls are laying about as good as they could get. Well, you could say, Phil, at one point at least, Gorst was trailing in this match as well. I think he had a chance to go down 3-0. I don't think. I know he had a chance to go down 3-0. Does it really count? I would say it does.
Of course, the sporting world is celebrating the achievement of Scotty Scheffler at the 153rd Open Golf Championship yesterday at Royal Portrush. And there are many traits of Scheffler within Fedor Gorst. He's very measured, always on an even keel, it seems. And I think the biggest trait is that he's incredibly tough to beat. And the more you win, the more your reputation grows, and the more you become a fearsome opponent who has a head start before the balls are broken. Your reputation precedes you, and it most certainly does with Gorst. Probably won't understand this terminology, but that's half a dozen racks on the trot. Fedor Gorst leading by 6-2. Much slower going in the match to determine who will play the winner and loser of this next time out. Francesco Candela and Marlon Caneda locked together at 2-2. Now these are the World 9-Ball Tour rankings, and look at the top 10. All quite closely bunched, actually, right from Mickey Krause in 10th to Aloysius Schaap in 2nd. Less than 100,000 points between them. But then Gorst on that pedestal. And that's underlining the point I was making a while ago. If he were to add this 250,000 points to that total, ooh, well, he would zoom away.
And this is what I think Federer is quite underrated at, is the break shot. I would include him without a doubt in the top 10 in the world at it, but possibly top 5, maybe better. And of course, Phil, it never fails. They call it the commentator curse, and I might be the best in the world at it.
Well, his second scratch on the break. And what's worse, look at the way they set up. An unmissable 2. Henderson really should be thinking about running out from here. At this level, these are the run-outs you've got to accept.
Yeah, and I think this is where you really need to make your move. And you can do that just with body language as well, right? Show some confidence here. Show that you're not going away. And I like what he's doing. Body language tells so much to the opposition. Cut it a little heavy. He's going to be just fine. Natural to the 7, but thinner than he wanted to be on the 5. Big deep breath from Sam. And from this angle, quite a bit thinner. Last thing you want to do is have to check this up with inside when you're on new cloth. Polished balls. So I don't know if he just uses an outside and floats, or if he decides to try and hold this in front of the 8. Back and forth. Needs to run, and it's not going to get there.
You hear it all the time to describe all kinds of situations. Behind the 8 ball, and that's exactly what he is. Literally.
Yeah, and I didn't mind the selection. He overcut the 5, and that's probably part of the problem. I think that he's either short or long if he hits it the way he wants, but he's probably short of the 8 if he doesn't overcut the 5. The reason he played it the way he did is he just wanted to ensure the make. He can get this down.
An efficient jump against the best jumper in the business. The only problem, position was not attached.
Yeah, this shot, without question, more difficult than the one prior.
Things, it seems, are going from bad to worse.
Surprised he's not just rolling this in, just taking what he's got on the 9 to the side. He did miss a 6 earlier. Maybe a big lead is going to allow him to do this. He feels good over it. Wow, stopped it on a dime.
These middle pockets are to be respected. That's why he's taking his time on what seems like a very straightforward shot. The early issues encountered by Fedor Gorst in the 2024 World 9-Ball Championship don't look as though they're going to be repeated this year. He's leading now by 7 racks to 2, just a couple more required for victory. City of Jeddah in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where this week sees the World Pool Championship taking place. The defending champion Fedor Gorst has taken a 7-2 lead over young Sam Henderson. But bear in mind, Henderson was 2-0 up. Gorst was a little wobbly at the start, I thought, but now it seems as though it's only a matter of time before he advances. Well, the one's in, Scott, but I think the 3 is blocking his path to the 2.
Yeah, oftentimes we say, did you play the shot, not the score line? I don't think even for Gorst, under these circumstances, he goes for this jump. But where do you roll out? I mean, the 6, does it cover the 2 up in the corner? It's doable, especially for the man. It kind of raised the bar in the jump field. Oh, didn't kind of. He did raise the bar. All right. Trying to trick Sam Henderson. It's his option. He can play it from where it lies or give it back to Gorst. Boy, you don't want to give up anything. 7 games to 2 at this point.
His nickname is Rhino. That's not after the African. It's after Ryne Sandberg, the famous second baseman for the Chicago Cubs. And Sandberg was always known as a really steely competitor, and that's what this Rhino needs to be right now. Beautiful. The touch of a surgeon.
Yeah, exactly, Phil. And that's kind of why you don't want to relinquish the table back to the man that left it where he intentionally left it. You know he had something up his sleeve. You just didn't know it was going to be that good. So hard to control the cue ball behind a naked 8-ball like that out in the middle of nowhere. Here, I think you've just got to hit this with pace. Hope for the best, some type of separation, maybe a little bit of a cover job on the 5 or the 4, maybe the 9. Or right in between all of them.
So Henderson doesn't achieve cover. I get the sense if Gorst wants to, he will, because there's plenty to hide behind now.
And this is something I like to talk about with Fedor's game. Leading 7 games to 2. He had a pretty straightforward cross-side bank, and he is a world champion bank pool player. He chose the percentage, and that's what he does every single time. He's going to play the right shot for him.
Well, just to emphasize your point, at this year's Derby City Classic, he won the 1 pocket and the banks against massive fields. And of course, after that, he was crowned master of the table, inevitably. 400-500 people enter those tournaments, and to come out on top in both, it's not just a matter of skill, it's a matter of stamina.
Yeah, exactly, Phil. Derby City Classic, one of the craziest and best tournaments in the world. They overlap into one another, right? You start out with the bank pool, then the 1 pocket, then the 9-ball. You have to win 15 rounds in each event to win. Gorst got a thin one to the top right. pretty natural if he can get out towards the center. Stretched out here.
Last year, because of completing that remarkable hat-trick, he was named the Billiards Digest Player of the Year. Who else could have had that accolade? It was obviously him. Still a nice thing to have, though. This year hasn't been so productive yet, but there's still so much big-time pool to be played.
If I had to pick a favorite to win this tournament, obviously he won last year. It makes sense, but I still feel like his percentages to get into the finals are just a little bit higher than anybody else in the field. And I truly feel that way.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I think if Joshua Filler hits top form, how can anyone stop him? Because his best, for me, is just the best, period. But so many other players have got a real claim on this title. They've got the ability to capture it. Another one, Johan Schur, the winner in Dubai a few days ago. He's a man on a mission, and he seems to be improving all the time. But you're right. Gorst has to be knocked off his perch, and that will take some doing.
And this is a shot back and forth that he loves to play. I tell you what, really, the last 3 quarters of this match, he's played pretty solid. His break has come together quite well. And that's really what he's looking for, a good finish. You mentioned it earlier, Phil. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And every game matters at this level to a player like Gorst.
Even though he looks certain to get to the hill now, Gorst will not be the first player to record a victory in this year's championship. That went to Daniel Masséol, who beat Seo Seoa 9-2. There's another player to keep an eye on, Masséol. So many of them. Here, Gorst is now relentless. Sam Henderson had those bright spots early on. He had chances to go 3-0 up. Could have won another couple of racks early, but they went a begging. And now Gorst needs just one more breaking off in rack 11 to make what would be a very tidy start to his title defence. Duong Quoc Quang of Vietnam on the hill against JJ Fall at 8-2. It's not been easy going for Shane Van Boning, I can tell you. He's now ahead, though, against Luong Doc Tien at 6-5. Dennis Grabber on the hill at 8-5 over Rogelio Sotero. And down below our commentary box, Wojciech Szewczyk, beaten semi-finalist by Gorst last year. He's 6-4 up on Fu Chi Wei. Oliver Szolnocki, the finest player from Hungary. He leads the German youngster Felix Vogel 6-5. And after a slow start, maybe Tyler Steyer could yet pull this out of the fire. He's 7-4 down, though, to Hong Kong's Lo Ho Sum, a former World Masters finalist. So will this be the last piece in his first puzzle? one good shot here, Scott, and the end could be very nigh indeed.
Yeah, the 2 is not frozen here. He's so deceiving with the break shot. His power is really there. It's always been there. But the control as well with the cue ball back and forth. As Phil said, one big shot away. This 2 is not frozen, so all the focus really just goes into knocking it down. The 3 on the left side of the table near the 9. This is not easy. Got to hit it clean.
Anything but clean. The bump of the middle pocket, which is always in a player's consciousness on that kind of shot, intervened.
Yeah, that shot right there, probably one of the most difficult shots on a pool table for a lot of great players. Well, you don't want to say it's one of your last opportunities, but it very well could be. Sam knows it. He's got to bury the 2. Nice and clean there.
If he could just put a few racks on the board, at least then he would go into his next match on the one-loss side with a certain amount of renewed confidence. And it's going to be a tough match either way. He'll face either Francesco Candela or Marlon Caneda. Candela leading that one 4-2 at the moment. Actually on table 7. One of those players who puts an awful lot of weight, the weight distribution on his front leg is extreme. Really leans into the shot. And in goes the 9. So the rot is stopped. It was 8 racks on the trot for Fedor Gorst. Now though, Henderson has managed to get it to 8-3. He's still a massive underdog to win the match. But you never know. Strange things happen in the world of 9-ball. Now this is the schedule coming up. And the second half of the year is so busy. Can't wait to go to Florida. August 5 to 10 at the Carib Royale Resort in Orlando. Then it's the US Open, one of my personal favourites on the circuit. Atlantic City, Harrah's Resort. The Hanoi Open again. What a tournament that is. The crowds there are phenomenal. The Reyes Cup, that should be something else in Manila, followed by the Philippines Open. Just a couple of days later, massive world ranking tournament there involving, no doubt, so many locals who can play the game and you've probably never heard of. And then, to complete the calendar, it's the Moscone Cup. The biggest pool gathering of the lot. Europe against the USA. I'm sure in years to come, Sam Henderson will have a crack at being a US Mosconi Cup player. Fedor Gorst, you can put him in the side now.
And he's got a ball down, not the one intended. I'll tell you what, we've talked about this. You don't want to relinquish control to Gorst. I think you've got to trim the one towards the two. But you've got to be tidy with the cue ball here, whether you use the 6 and 3 or you try and just get down here to the 4, which is real tough. I don't think he's feeling that good. So really just trim the 1 towards the bottom of the 2 and maybe use the 9 here. I think you're asking a lot trying to get behind the 6 and 3, even though it's a little more natural. Yeah. Just caught it way too heavy.
I can tell you Duong Kok Wang is through. He beat JJ Fall 9-3, so that will be a source of great joy to his many fans in Vietnam. Gorst stalking around the table, understands the importance of the shot. Oh, and he's played it beautifully. When you're feeling a little nervous when a match is on the line, when you're trying to get over the line, when you play it slow pace, that is the one where the nerves have to be so firm, so unflappable.
Well, I think that's where the fundamentals come into place. The back arm for Gorst really does it for me. I expected the cue ball to bend just a little more. He is there. But he has such good fundamentals. Best in the business. If it were up to me. Does do something odd when drawing the cue ball. He aims towards the center, then goes low. That's something he's done since he was 9 years old. It works for him, clearly. I wouldn't try it at home.
Quickly, another result. Mark Bosch, the Dutchman with the big break. He has beaten Mohamed Al Ghamasi of right here in Saudi Arabia 9-6. And you would think the next to record a victory would be the man we're watching right now. Can't say he had things all his own way. Wasn't the easiest opening to the championship. But it looks as though, overwhelmingly, that Fedor Gorst will take his first steps to a successful title defence in rather comfortable fashion.
I think he's going to be quite pleased with the last 3 quarters of this match. And that's kind of what it takes, right? You've got to walk and work your way into it. He's definitely done that. The break shot's really been the talk for him in the last part of the match.
the Ghost is back at the World Pool Championship. And the way he's played, certainly in the second half of this contest, this Ghost is rather scary. He wasn't spooked by going 2 racks to 0 down in the end. Fedor Gorst comes through by 9 racks to 3. He will be delighted by that because it wasn't the easiest of draws. The defending champion off and running.